Hi, my name is Leah Banks, and I'm the Life Design Educator for Biomedical Engineering students. My presentation today will cover all the ins and outs that you need to know for your virtual interview needs. Whether you have an interview for an internship or a job, by the end of this presentation, the resources and tips that I provide should help you stand out. So let's get started. The objectives of this workshop are to outline the principles and tips for a successful interview, as well as identifying the do's and don'ts. Also, we'd like to help you devise a plan that will help you structure and prepare for the various types of interviews that you may have, as well as understanding the importance of preparing for these interviews. Lastly, we want to help you to practice creating and delivering answers to most common interview questions. In preparing for your interview, it's always great to do your homework. And when I say homework, I mean doing your research into the company, finding out if they're financially stable, or learning about their history or accomplishments are things that you could incorporate to your answers to their questions, and or these could be used to your advantage in asking them questions. Outside of using the company's website, you can use Google, Glassdoor, or other search engines to find out this information. To help out with your homework assignment, these are common topics that you can incorporate into your search about the company. First things first, you want to ensure that your skills align with the responsibilities and skill sets that have been outlined in their job description. Determining if your values align with the company's mission is one way to eliminate jobs that aren't the best fit for you. Additionally, researching ongoing projects, organizational structure, salaries by position, as well as potential for promotion are great insights to have before you start your interview. Know your company environment. Business professional attire is common for most interviews. However, for startup tech jobs, the attire may be a bit more casual. However, a general rule is to dress a bit more professional than their everyday work attire. The same rules apply for virtual interviews. And yes, this means wearing pants. Studies have shown that even behind a camera, when you're fully dressed, it adds to your confidence and professional demeanor. Ensure that your clothes are wrinkle-free, that your hair is out of your face, neutral makeup, and minimal accessories. The interview structure can differ in a virtual setting. However, these steps outline what a typical interview structure would be like. The first step would be the rapport building, and this is just casual conversation that you have with the employer. Step 2 would be the question and answer, and this is where the recruiter has control of the interview. You can expect a variety of different questions designed to get to know you, better understand your skills and experiences, as well as your work habits. Step 3 is the sell. This is basically where you're asking the questions and you're taking control of the interview. This goes back into the research that you did into the company, where you found out things about the company that you may want to know more answers about. The close. This is where you could thank the recruiter for their time and consideration, ask them if they need anything more from your end, as well as find out what the next steps are. You will likely experience different types of interviews throughout your job search and career. A phone interview is commonly used by companies to screen candidates early in the process. They may be a precursor to further phone conversations, video interviews, or face-to-face meetings. Those face-to-face meetings can be with one person or a panel where you have multiple people interviewing you at once. The unscheduled interview may happen when networking virtually or in person. Also be prepared for the mini screening that could occur at a job fair with the recruiter. Lastly, the virtual interview. These can occur in a one-way interview or a live. More on this in following slides. Phone interviews are still widely used to conduct first-round interviews. However, employers are also incorporating one-way video interviews to accomplish the same task, confirming that the candidate meets the basic requirements for the job. However, the one-way interview differs in that employers request a video from the job seeker and provides them with pre-scripted interview questions. You want to be sure that you read and follow the employer's instructions carefully and adhere to the deadlines that they set. Ensure that you have the right devices and choose a distraction-free background to record. Do your homework to better answer the questions they've sent. Also, having your answers prepared is not a bad idea. Dress the part, be the best you, and make eye contact by looking directly in the camera. Here we have tips for successful video interviewing. Pre-check your connection, ensure your internet connection is stable, check that your computer's audio is working, as well as test your computer's webcam. Again, you want to use a distraction-free background, and lighting is key. The lighting will prevent shadows as well as excess brightness. You want to use a chest-up frame with the angle of your camera, dress appropriately, as well as have open body language. In continuation of successful video interviewing tips, you want to find a quiet, private, well-lit place, free from possible interruptions. You also want to close any unnecessary web browser tabs in applications. This is applicable if the interviewer wants you to do a presentation in which you have to share your screen. Also, the advantage of virtual interviewing is that you can jot down notes. This helps with thank you emails as well as follow-ups. When listening, nod and smile to show that you're engaged. Also remember, make eye contact with the camera. Use hand gestures when appropriate. And lastly, place your phone on silent mode. Let's dive more into the types of interviews that exist so you can be as prepared as possible. Behavioral interviews are the most common interview technique wherein you are asked as to describe past behaviors in a way that is transferable to future roles and scenarios. A case interview is common in consulting, but becoming more popular across the board. In case interviews, you'll be asked to solve multifaceted problems and give solutions tailored to a specific client. Technical interviews are used for recruitment in engineering, science, and IT. This type of interview tests your technical knowledge related to and for the role and showcases how you can think through exercises like reasoning tests. Overall, organizations want to determine whether you're a good fit for the position, skills and personality-wise. You have the opportunity to examine whether the role, company culture, management, professional development are in line with your goals, your values, personality, strengths, and desired impact. A common question that is asked during an interview is, what are your strengths? An interviewer seeks to find out if your strengths align with the company's needs, in addition to the skills and experience that you've outlined in your resume and your cover letter. This question also positions you to separate yourself from the rest of the competition. It allows for you to sell yourself as being an excellent addition to the team if hired. Your strengths can include experience, talents, soft skills, or relevant education or training information. Common mistakes with answering this question is a lack of self-awareness or being too modest. Remember, confidence and honesty go a long way during an interview. The weakness question. A weakness is not a character flaw. Everyone has one. A weakness is a deficient skill that you have or need to improve. When asked this question in an interview, be honest and always use examples that is not job related. Always describe the weakness in past tense and discuss how you've been improving upon making this a strength. Avoid trite answers such as, I'm a perfectionist. Shown here are examples of good and bad answers for the weakness question. I'm going to give you a few seconds to decide which one is the best answer. If you chose the last question, you are correct. As I stated before, you want to state the weakness that you have. However, show them how you're improving that weakness and making it a strength. The STAR method is a way of answering questions that provide interviews with clear, concrete, and concise answers. Using this technique gets to the heart of the personal contributions a candidate made in their work experiences and results associated with their contributions. This is a great method for answering behavioral interview questions. STAR is an acronym for situation, task, action, and result. We'll go into each one in greater detail. S is for situation. This is where you can describe what you or your employer experienced. For example, maybe there is an immediate request from your supervisor to submit information that would be shared with the president or the CEO of the company. Or maybe a client complained on social media about service that was recently received at your store. It's a good idea to use examples from experiences that appear on the resume that align with the position that you're interviewing for. T is for task. Explain what specific tasks you were involved in. Using the previous examples, perhaps you had to run reports using Excel or build a research mechanism to discover data. For the client complaint, maybe you had to develop a new customer complaint strategy. A is for action. Explain what specific actions you took in the situation. Be mindful to use I, not we, statements to share what actions you completed. Using our example, maybe you combed through the data for pertinent information, or for the challenge that you experienced with social media, you benchmarked customer complaint strategies for peer companies and developed a completely new strategy. This shows process of thinking, problem solving, and ability to manage projects. The R is for result. If there was a notable result, don't be shy. Share it. You also want to use quantifiable, specific answers where possible. Shown here is an example of how you can apply the STAR method to an experience. The question is, tell me about a time you had to complete a task under a tight deadline. I'll give you a few moments to apply the STAR method to the answer below. So applying the STAR method, S for the situation would be the big project. The task, T, would be that you only had a few days to learn about the project. A for action, you created a task force and delegated work. R, the result, was that you completed the assignment with a day to spare. Once the interviewer is done asking you questions, they will always give you an opportunity to ask them questions. This is your opportunity to both get more information about the company and share additional information about yourself. Use this time to clarify or get more in depth on something that was shared early or things that you researched. This is also a great opportunity to show that you've spent some time researching the company. Remember that homework assignment? Once your interview is over, you want to wait no longer than 24 to 48 hours to email each person that interviewed you. Yes, if you had a panel interview, send individual emails to those who were on the panel. The advantage of virtual interviews is that you can take notes of people that you spoke with, as well as reference key elements in the interview to show your engagement, as well as your enthusiasm about the job. If you haven't heard back from the company after 2 weeks, follow up with the hiring manager by phone or email. For any interview that you have, you want to practice. Using Zoom, you can do mock interviews with your life design educator or someone in your networking connection. Additionally, you could use Interview Stream through Handshake, which is an easy-to-use online program that uses on-screen, videotaped interview scenarios to allow you to practice your answers to common interview questions. It's available 24/7, and it also has a counter that can count those like or ums. You can choose the questions you'll be asked. You can also save your interview to view later. Lastly, you can send a link to your interview to ask for feedback from others. Shown on this slide is how to find Interview Stream through Handshake. You'll first click on Career Center, then Resources, and then from there you'll click on Resumes, Cover Letters, and Interviewing. After clicking on this section, you'll then click on Interview Stream in the Online Resources. Outside of Handshake, you can go directly to Interview Stream via www.jhu.interviewstream.com. You'll use your JHU login. However, note you may have to create an account through Handshake first before you can use the direct link. Now that's all for virtual interviewing. If you have additional questions or need help preparing for an interview, feel free to reach out to your life design educator and visit our life design website. Good luck with your interview.